So, what is going on, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy United Commander class Megmatron. And this is a strange character. I know nothing about this thing, except he's just kind of a weird guy. And I guess he's the leader of the Predacons in Beast Wars 2? It's a whole thing. There's like Beast Wars Neo, Beast Wars 2. I don't know which one's which at this point. They're just all over the place. And he is a weirdo. He is essentially a megazord for all intents and purposes. He's made of 3 different dinosaurs, but they don't split into their own individual robots. They're just 3 different dinosaurs. So he is essentially a megazord. They're all different colors. They form different parts. He's just a megazord. He is a Transformers version of a megazord type of thing. And as far as it goes with him, he is an intriguing-looking guy. He has a tail, which won't allow me to put him all the way back unless I kind of move it to the side a little bit. There we go. There we go. Got it off to the side a bit more. And, yeah, as you can see, he's a big guy. He is quite large. He's Commander. He's actually the smallest Commander I own. I believe he's smaller than Armada Optimus Prime. He's definitely smaller than Jetfire. Everybody's smaller than Jetfire. I don't think there's been a Commander-class figure that has been larger than Jetfire. That thing is just massive. But this guy is, well, he's pretty cool, I guess. There's a lot of things. You have a dinosaur head here. You have a dinosaur head there, and you also have one there. And, I mean, it's pretty intriguing. He has a giant shield, which is definitely not half of one of the dinosaurs at all. At all. It's definitely not. He also has a sword, which is definitely not a good percentage of another dinosaur in this combination. This is nothing, guys. Don't worry, that's nothing. That's nothing. As far as it goes, though, I mean, he does look pretty neat. I love the chest piece, if I'm being honest. The chest piece looks phenomenal with these red claws, the gold. It just looks good. His head sculpt also very angry looking, as Beast Wars figures tend to look. He has these wings coming out of his head, which, while looking cool, kind of hinder the figure's head articulation, because, yeah, that's kind of a lot of the space. You see, you can move it this way to the right pretty good, but as soon as you go left, you run into the problem of this head here getting in the way of it. So the head looking to the left is a little bit strange. Also, the claws at the top that you can't really see, they're up here, right there. There. I don't know if they're supposed to be up or down. I leave them up because I think it looks a little cooler, but he just has a lot of height because of those wings. And I mean, he's just a massive guy. Turning him around, though, oh boy, what a backpack. When I tell you one of the dinosaurs is straight up the backpack, I'm not joking. The whole plesiosaur-looking one, yeah, he's just the backpack pretty much. And the arms. And then you have the, I think it's a Gigasaurus. Is that what it's called? I don't know if it's called that. We'll call them by their technical names of Landsaur, Seasaur, and Skysaur. But he has this giant tail, which just kind of sticks out, and it's there. And there's not anything really you can do about it. I leave it out usually, but like I said earlier, you can kind of flip it over to the side. But that doesn't really help anything. And it's kind of just there. I do like a couple things, though, like the gold shoulder looks pretty cool. I will say that. It does look nice. The crush plate, it's a little weird, because a lot of it's so just dinosaur. And then there's, like, when it gets to the technical bits, it kind of looks weird. Like, the shoulders on the back of the legs as well, down here. There's, like, these pistons that run through, and it's really nice. It's actually a whole transformation step, but, like, it's so strange. You then have the whole plesiosaur head up there, just looking at you. He's just chilling. He's just doing something. I mean, it's a pretty cool alt for robot form. And I mean, for accessories, as you can see, we have sword. Sword also has different sword blade. And with said sword blade, you can use blast effects. He comes with 2 different trees, which I think are the Omega Supreme ones. They've been using those ever since they've created them. And this one extra one, you can put them in the port if you'd like. I don't really care for them. They're purple blast effects. It's cool to have more color blast effects, and I don't mind having a ton more, but it's whatever. I don't really care as much about them as I think most people don't. They're just there. They're cool, though. I like having them, so keep it going, Hasbro. Keep it going. And I mean, the shield's the shield. It does unpeg from the arm pretty easy. It kind of has like a little clamp type system on it, which it does have the peg there as well, so you don't have to worry about the clamp breaking or anything. But it's there. It's cool. You also have like the little gems, which are accurate to the figure. There's one there, one on the left shoulder, and then one on the sword. That's where they're all at. But he does have two more accessories, which are the swords up on the wings, which I'm only going to briefly show one of them because they're both there and they're both identical. These little blades, they're there. They're cool, I guess. And I don't really want to use them all that often because they're really puny, for him at least. They're really, really tiny. They're like daggers in his hands. But that's basically that, other than the articulation, which is pretty alright, you know? Like I said, the head is really restricted due to the wings, which really does suck. Forward, back, outward, all ratcheted. He does have an elbow bend. It's a double elbow bend. We then have the hand articulation, which it has a hinge, hands open and close. Can't see it, there it is. Hands open, close, that rotate everything under the sun, really, in the arms. Waist swivel's a little restrictive, though. You kind of have to move things in the back a bit, and then you can get it. You got to move like that weird purple panel, and there you go. You have a bit of a waist swivel. Forward, back, outward, knee joint. Really good knee joint, by the way. And he does have an ankle tilt, and he would have forward and back, but they lock it up with the transformation, which is really weird. It's kind of strange, because the Dino form has that, but the main one doesn't. And that is essentially the robot mode. It's just a giant cluster. I don't know what, it's just a thing. It looks cool, though, in my opinion. But that's that. So let's just get into the transformation, which we're going to start by decombining them, and then we're going to transform them one by one, because there's 3 of them. So starting off with decombination, remove the sword and remove the shield. You're going to put them off to the side for now. Once that is done, unpeg the plesiosaur head. That's usually the last step I do in the transformation. And as you can see, very long boy. Once that has been done, come to the front of it and move up these little legs. And you can also move the Quetzal head or the Skysaur head out of the way and unpeg these, which are really tight. Once that's done, though, you immediately will lose the legs, which we'll put off to the side. And then you can unpeg the Skysaur and put the Seasaur off to the side. And now we will do the transformation for the Seasaur. So the Seasaur's transformation, or the Skysaur, sorry, is really easy. Just fold it up like that, and then you take the feet and you turn them into feet. Kind of bend that joint back. Yeah, he doesn't really do much, if I'm being honest. He's pretty easy. That's him. Next up is the Seasaur, which is a little bit more complicated, but not really. So we're going to start with the battle sled over here. First thing you're going to do, flip out these panels like so. Flip that part up. Don't flip it up all the way yet, though. And then come down to these fins and rotate them around like so. And there you go. You got this little thingy. It's the whole bottom of the plesiosaur thing. Now to the top half, which is really simple. I mean, honest, fold out this back section with the neck, and then take these sections here. They fold in, like so. Don't fold that up yet, though, because you need to connect it to the bottom. Next is the arms, so you're going to kind of unpeg them, and then rotate them around. There's a peg on the wrist, and there's a slot up here on the shoulder. And once that's there, I'm going to try to not hit the camera with the plesiosaur neck, because there's a kind of slider joint that's really loose and loves to move. Once that's done, peg the shoulder in like that, and that arm will just rest there like that for a minute. Next up is this one, which also pegs in, but a little bit harder, and you gotta make sure that it is pegged in, because if it isn't, it will kind of disturb the whole thing. It will disturb the whole thing. Rotate the arm to the side, rotate that, rotate that, and then peg that in like so. And you get the arms looking like this. And what you're going to want to do is there is a slider in there, which is now blocked off. You can't really see it. It slides down like that. The long side will go down towards the neck, where the short side will go down towards the butt of the thing. You're then left with this, and then you take these things, and they combine together in a way that's just clamping them together. This guy is basically just the ultimate shell former. The only way to put it. This part is basically just shell forming to the max. Take the front, fold it down, do that, and then adjust the neck accordingly. The neck is kind of very hinged. And it's probably one of the more tedious parts of this whole set, if I'm being honest, is this thing's neck. And there we have the seesaw. We have the meat and potatoes of the thing. This is literally like most of the combination, if I'm being honest. He does it all, basically. Fold that head down like so. Come in here and fold up this panel. Make sure this little side flap here is out of the way. And once it is out of the way, you kind of come in here and rotate that section. Once that section's been rotated, you can take these side panels here that are kind of kibble, and I honestly don't like them that much. Move them up like that, and then pull him apart like so. Once you've done that, you can then take this green chest piece section and peg it together, which forms these kind of like tubes, which looks kind of cool, actually. I kind of like that look. Anyway, once that's done, you kind of like fold it down a bit, like so. Come to the legs. Now for the legs, they have these little tubes in them that I mentioned earlier, the little pistons. They just basically flip away. The same thing with the heels. But there's these little toe spikes that I failed to mention in the robot mode that you also have to fold up. Just basically take those. There's the little toe spikes, by the way. They're right there. Once you take those little toe spikes and you move them, take the heel, fold it up. Same thing as the other side, really. There's not really a difference. Come on now. Ta-da! Toe spikes. Be gone. Along with all that weird mechanical detailing he has. The next thing is the sword. The sword is part of him, obviously. Remove the blade, and then take this part and flip it back, the actual part of the sword. The rest of it is just full-on dinosaur parts. And honestly gave me the most grief out of the whole set, if I'm being honest. This thing is strange at first. I didn't realize the part back here moved. But the way it goes on is also a little strange. So you take it, and then there's a little bit of, there's a peg kind of in the back part of the butt that goes into. But it mostly, for me, pegs on using the green section here. So there's a kind of groove in this open slot that you can't really see. It's right there. And it goes on to the peg. It's kind of like two peg looking things right there. You move those like so. And once you do that, make sure everything's all good and put together. Fold down that little chest section. Bend the knees pretty much as far as you can. Make sure it's all pegged together. And then in the neck here, fold down that section there. And for the blade, quite simply, there you go. And now you have the Lansaur, or I think it's a Gigasaurus. I think. I don't know if that's exactly what it's called, but it's a Giga, if I'm not mistaken. Ta-da. Let's start with him. Might as well. I mean, he's definitely here. And he's definitely my favorite out of the bunch. I mean, he's just a T-Rex looking dinosaur. I mean, he's going to be a really big hit. He's just a big purple dinosaur. He's not Megatron, though. He's Magmatron. And I mean, everything's there. I mean, since this thing doesn't really have a robot mode to focus on, they actually did give it articulation in a lot of places. I like this white stripe running through it, the green eyes. One thing I will complain about is the mouth doesn't open at all, really. Like, that's as far as it goes. He ain't eating nobody with that. He ain't eating nobody. You got the little arms going down here. They're on a ball joint, so they got all the range you need. They don't have elbows, though. He's a little gappy in places, like at the front here. It's a little funny looking, but even the tail's a little wonky because there's like bits hanging off it. There's a port back there. There's a port up here for something. I still don't know what that port's for. I have no idea. And if you look back here, oh boy, there's some stuff going on here, but that's kind of just where you have to go with it. There's not really much you can do, because if you don't put the legs there, then, oh dear God, yeah, he's just wide open. He's fine, you know, he has articulation, like his head moves, which is good. Looks up and down, side to side. The tail wags. The legs have pretty much all the articulation they had in robot mode. And they have the tilt that I mentioned that gets locked away for some reason. And that is essentially him. So let's get on to the next one, which will be the Seesaw. The Seesaw is a plesiosaur, I think. That's what it is. It's basically the Loch Ness Monster. And it's weird. The neck is way too long. That's always been a thing with this. The neck's just way too long. But I get what they're going for. He's very round. He's really hefty, too, somehow, despite being arms. And that's it in the inside. He's just a little squishy guy. Nice painting up here on the top. Nice fade. Looks good. Underneath, he has this weird part. I don't know what this is for still. No idea. It's there. I don't know what it's for. And I mean, it's fine. But the one thing to note is that they cheaped out on the neck a lot. It's just really hollow. And it depends on how you put it. I didn't rotate it this way. But yeah, it's just kind of there. His mouth opens. There's so many hinges in the neck that it honestly, that I don't need to show the articulation. It's just, there's a lot. It can do what you want it to. That's it. The back fins move. The front ones are ball jointed. It's perfectly well and good. No issues. The sun is back. It's been here the whole review, but it's returned in full force. That is the Seesaw. Next up, the Quetzal, or the Skysaur, which is probably, it's the weakest one, but it still doesn't look bad. It's really small. It's like a core class, but with a deluxe price point. That's how I'm going to put that. It looks good. The fading of the colors on the back looks really nice, though, on the wings. Looks really, really good. The head looks good. It has the yellow eyes. Seesaw also had yellow eyes. The mouth opens. He has, like, metallic silver teeth, though, weirdly enough. I mean, it looks good. I mean, there's not really a lot to complain about. I mean, he's a little guy. There's not a lot you're going to get out of it. The legs are fully articulate. The wings move. You're going to get what you want out of him. The neck, again, though, is hollow, similar to the Seesaw. It makes no sense. There's just a ton of gaps that shouldn't be here. It's a commander class. And not only is it a commander class, he is a bit smaller. So it is a little interesting, although I do have to admit there is a lot of engineering in this guy. So maybe the money went to the engineering, but, I mean, they could have put the money into the necks. I think they could have filled those up, personally. Could have did something with them. Anyway, that is the dino modes, but there's technically one more mode. Technically. It's really, really kind of crappy, though, if I'm being honest, compared to the original anyway. Let's get into it. So the mode we're talking about in particular is the combination, like, Chimera Dino, which is weird. So we're going to just get everything ready. For him, you're just going to do that and lift up this panel. That's what you're doing for him. That's not a joke. It's what you're doing for him. Now, we're going to get Seesaw in. He does all the work. I'm not going to lie to you. He does it all. Every bit of it is him. Fold down this section, and you're just going to do the thing and split them. There's not really a point in having him together at all. Take that, fold that down, fold that up. And there you go. Now for this section, it's kind of fun, I guess. It's not really fun. This mode kind of is just meh to me. It doesn't do anything for me personally. So you're basically going to go about turning him into arms, but not exactly. Take the arms and fold them down like so. Leave them like that. Take these bits here on the back and fold them out for later. Once that's done, there's this little clippy boy in here, which is a little hard to get up, but there it is. And you have these sections. Now, these sections are very important for the stability of the thing. Make sure these gray things are flipped out. And once they are flipped out, peg them on to these little inner bits here. There's little triangles right here, and they just go into those. Like that. And once that's done, that's basically him, other than fixing the feet of the thing. Again, the ratchets on this guy's shoulders are really, really hefty. For some reason, like, they're really hefty. But there you go. Now we got to get in this guy, who's not exactly the funnest to combine up in this thing. It, like, has parts that go places, and it's just really not that fun. So there's a clip section here that goes into the back of the tail. And that's basically where that goes. That whole weird-looking tail that has, like, all those grooves on it, that's what it's for, is essentially just combining him into this mode. Which, again, to me doesn't look great, but that's fine. Take these little bits that we folded up earlier, and then there's a slot here, and that goes there like that, and then fold that little green thing up down there. You know what it looks like. Once that's been done, take the top of the seesaw and it plugs in how it basically would, but the shield bit can plug into the tail. I don't think you have to, personally. I think if you do, it usually kind of ruins it. Because then you gotta try to line it up, and it just doesn't work. It's just fun. It's just not fun. Anyway, take that, and there you go. I know the thing's not standing great, but this whole thing is not great in my opinion, and I think it's just kind of a thing that even on the original is just kind of shoved in there. So then for the Skysoar, fold his legs up and rotate his wings. Once you do that, it just pegs into the back in a couple spots, which are pretty obvious. There's a slot for the tail to go into, and then the neck goes into the plesiosaur's tail. And you basically come in here and leave them like that. It does peg in another spot, but I don't really care. Here's this thing. It doesn't fit on camera. It's too big. It's really dumb. It's really stupid. I'm never going to use it. It's just a thing they basically threw in and said, hey guys, it's a thing that's here. It's fine. I don't care. It's just fine. But that's basically it for this guy. So let's just get to my final thoughts, which are pretty positive overall, other than the stupid thing I just showed you there. Yeah, this thing's pretty solid. And I mean, I got this thing Prime Day because it was cheaper that day. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I wanted him. I was determined he was going to be my first commander, but then he wasn't. And then it's like, you know, he's just really solid and good. There's not really a lot wrong with him, like, at all. Like, you wouldn't be mad if you got this guy. I firmly believe that. He's kind of fun, just for the fact that he's a combiner, but not really at the same time. That's the main thing to me, is that he's a combiner, but not really. And I mean, as far as things go with him, would I recommend him? Yeah, I would. He's just good. He's just an amazing figure. And I mean, to put him back together, and I am going to talk this whole time while showing how to put him back together, because if I don't, it's a little strange. I mean, you might figure it out, but out of the box, he comes so horribly mistransformed, it's honestly crazy. Like, I'm not joking. There's a lot of him that's mistransformed in the box. Like, it's just pure insanity. But, I mean, the dino modes, they look good. The robot mode, it looks really good. It's as accurate as you're going to get to this random-ass character from some Beast Wars version. Like I said, there's like 50 Beast Wars shows for some reason, and they're all weird. except for the original, really. They're just kind of existing. They're all Japan exclusives. Their existence is basically just to sell toys, much like every Transformers thing is. But it's just a weird thing. There we go. Now he's all pegged together. And that's just, that's literally what I would say. That's basically end a review usually, but no, we're gonna stick around. We gotta put this thing together. I mean, as far as it'll be, it's a pretty simple thing to put back together. I mean, it's not too difficult. It's just showing where parts go. Like that. I didn't take the blade out of the tail. I'll get it. But I mean, the conversion, easy enough back. It's fun. It's fine enough. I already have the arms done. We already did the arms, technically. I know I'm not doing it straight from the dyno forms, but yeah. You get the gist. It'll look like this. You know you're going to be pulling out the arms. Everybody knows you're going to be pulling out the arms. It's just the arms. Come on now. They're arms. They're going to be pulled out. I mean, everything for the arms is set up from that form other than folding this section down. And then it pegs into the back of the, like, shoulder joints. And then the head, like, folds around a bit. There you go. And you get that. You can technically peg it on there, but I'd recommend kind of waiting till the end because it's a little iffy. Trying to get it in there, positioned all correctly and everything. There we go. We'll just do this for now. And that's the arms. And then you got to get Skysoar involved, which, again, what a simple conversion. Just look at this. That's it. That's all you do, really. And then you just fix the legs into the position of this. There you go. Skysoar. And then to combine it, it's quite simple. Take it, put Skysoar in first. And it just is this gigantic groove in the back. And he goes there. And you just fold that down. Make sure the dyno legs are in the correct position. They do peg into the chest, so there is that. So you don't have to worry about anything there going wrong. Anyway, after that, for the Seesaw, easy enough. There's pegs on the shoulders right here. And they go into the chest piece. Pretty easy. They do clip in. They take a bit of force to get out, but they go in super easy. And it makes no sense to me whatsoever. Rotate that hand if it's rotated. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes. But you're basically just there. Now it's just basically putting everything into place. And for me, trying to get that tail. We're just going to leave the tail. But that is the combination back. Ta-da! That's all you do. Pretty easy stuff. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with this guy. And, I mean, yeah, he's just good. Really great figure. Recommend. 4.5 out of 5 just because of that stupid mode. That's it. Other than that, he's perfect. That's been a review of Megazord. Goodbye.